So what's up, man? Good to meet you virtually.
Yeah, this is my brother Chris. This is Gregg motherfucking Zart.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet
The
you.
legend.
Yes. The man, the myth, the legend. Yes, indeed. I'm
got his
drinking
Versace
tea.
shades on.
Got my Versace's on. I'm drinking tea because I'm trying to be healthy.
How you feeling, man?
You know, I don't feel terrible. I don't feel 100% myself. I kind of got that raspy, dry cough thing going on, and a little bit of a fever. But I think I got a mild version. If I got the COVID, I got a mild version of it. Let's just
hopefully it stays that way.
Which is the vast majority of cases. So
yeah. You know, I had a little gastrointestinal issue this morning. Had a little vomiting. But since then, honestly, I felt a lot better.
Are you going to get tested, do you think?
If it gets worse, I'm self-isolating. I'm self-quarantining. So before I left, I went and stocked up on groceries. I knew the possibility that I would have to just take 2 weeks after I got home. And so I'm prepared to just kind of sit it out. If it gets bad or worse, I will, but I don't feel like I need them to tell me if I'm sick, I'm sick. You know,
let me jump in here for a second.
Good.
Yeah.
For those listening, Gregg Zart, friend of the show. We spoke before, chopped it up about the CHOP in Seattle. CHAZ formerly became CHOP. He was there on the ground doing his investigative alternative journo thing, you know. He went down then to Portland when all that shit was going off with the feds and everything. And we tried to talk 10, 15 minutes into it as we're shitting on the feds. My internet just gets throttled. Can't get a hold of him for a good 15 minutes. Finally get a hold of him. He's like, bro, my internet's gone to shit. So neither of us are conspiracy dudes, but that's fucking suspect.
It was a little odd, yeah.
Yeah, considering the subject matter and what was going on.
Some flag word set off.
Right.
And then now you took another investigative trip, and we're talking about how you may or may not have COVID. With you being a mask guy, tell us, where did you go where you might have contracted COVID?
Hey, I'm going to get in trouble with my mom right now, too, because before I went to Sturgis, I promised Mom, she said one thing, wear a mask, right? And I'm like, yes, Mother. And I try to listen to Mom, and I do, and most of the time I do. And I did the first day when I went to Sturgis, South Dakota for the 80th Annual Motorcycle Rally. I tried to be prepared, you know. We need the audio. And so I wore my mask. I had my American flag mask. Not social distancing and not wearing masks, essentially. But there's a lot of cool motorcycles. I figured a bunch of bikers, a bunch of rebels, a bunch of patriots, they'll love that American flag mask. And so the whole first day, I did wear a mask. I was the only person in Sturgis, South Dakota wearing a mask. Literally the only guy. Okay.
Hard to embed. Yeah, you're trying to embed with these Muslims dressed like Ronald McDonald or some shit. Like,
and I wear a mask. Right. And okay, but when the guy said to me, "What's that for? Something to hold your balls with?" I knew that I had to take the mask.
Hold my balls with.
Right. And so, yeah, actually what I said to him, he was like this big burly guy, and I could tell it was kind of been fun. And so I said, what, and take your job away from you?
Nice.
But I wear a mask.
Stealing his job and shit?
I wear a mask to protect others, right? Primarily, it protects, in case it keeps you from spreading an asymptomatic thing to others.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're not a dick.
Well, so when I'm in a town full of people that obviously weren't concerned, nobody else had a mask. I, at that point, as an adult, said, you know what? I accept the risk. I might get, there's a good possibility I will get COVID, but I've been training for this. I'm in COVID shape. You know, I've been doing push-ups, sit-ups. I've lost almost 20 pounds, like 17 and a half pounds since the middle of March, because I literally wanted to start. I heard something on the news about, you know, people in better shape have a better chance at surviving. And I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups and crunches. I'm like in the best shape of my life. So I thought, you know what? If you're going to get it, now's the time. Get it and get it over with.
Right. And it's like, especially if you're going to be going out in the field facing the fire, get in shape.
Yeah.
I'm a fat ass man. The first 2 weeks, I lost like 12 pounds. I probably gained 15 back. But I'm not going out in that shit.
Dan Rather. I guarantee when Dan Rather went in the jungle in Vietnam, he wore a white T-shirt and camo like everybody else, right? Because when you embed, you embed. If I was the only guy in town wearing a mask, I would not have gotten the access that I got, and I got some great access.
Totally.
You know, so that's
You would have had to hang out with the Antifa guys.
So that's true, because they literally were the only people wearing
Yeah.
masks.
You'd have
That's
to
part of
embed
the
with
problem
them.
too. That's the thing. The mask to these people represents more than just the COVID thing, which is a battleground already on its own, right? But it's also the Antifa thing. It's
that they were wearing masks before we were. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I remember an Antifa rally in downtown Olympia, and I was kind of making fun of them all wearing masks. And what are you afraid of? Why won't you show your face? You know, and the irony here that we're all wearing masks now.
Yeah.
You know?
right.
Are you talking as the virus was starting to surface, or do you mean even before that? Like
Before that.
You're referring to
Before
okay.
that.
Now, all right.
Correct.
Let me jump in again and just kind of moderate and guide this a bit. You have a history with Antifa. You're not a fan of Antifa. You've dealt with them before in Seattle and that Olympia, that area.
Correct.
And you ironically happen to be the guy on the ground in Sturgis who recorded a video of Antifa showing up that went viral as shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
How many
Viral
views
to the
now
tune
as
of-
we speak?
2.8 million and counting. 2.8 million.
Crazy.
It's been shared over
Jesus.
43,000 times on Facebook. More than 43,000 times.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
And this
really
is
crazy.
less than a week
Wild.
old, and most of those were in the first 2 days, 24 hours to 2 days, right? I mean, it just
I
blew the fuck
had
up.
literally 2 days. Yeah, I got my Facebook friends went from 2,000 to 4,000. I got another couple thousand YouTube subscribers in 24 hours. Like
Beautiful. Congrats.
this was big. This was big.
Like you went on Rogan,
And the
got
irony,
the bump.
yeah, that's true. And it is ironic, isn't it, that it was Antifa that launched me onto the next
Right.
level of
Your
sort
foil.
of visibility,
Yes.
right? I have a TV director person just reached out to me this evening, right before the podcast, kind of sending me like her resume, like her LinkedIn, and talking about maybe wanting to collab on something. So, hey, this is like opening
Cool,
some
man.
doors
Doors
right now.
opening up.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so-
Antifa.
Thanks, Andy. But do you want to start? Do you want to rewind the tape and start back in? Do you want to talk about Portland at all, or is this going to be the Sturgis rally? Because Portland was mind blowing.
Because that was a conversation we were about to have.
We sort
And
of
you were on the ground there, I mean, with the guys using the fucking leaf blowers to blow tear gas off of you and shit, essentially.
No, I was literally on the front lines, and I wasn't prepared. You know, I'm that guy that went there with a foam ski mask, thinking that was going to block tear gas. Yeah, that's hilarious. And
Do you have
so-
your new gas mask on hand that you can show us? Or is it
Oh
packed
my
away?
God! Well, it's in the trunk of my car.
Oh.
I actually carry it with me just in case. But it's pretty high tech. Yeah, it's a military grade
Nice.
gas mask, full face gas mask, double. You know, it's beautiful. It's actually pretty too. Like
Yeah, it looks red.
matches the blue in my eyes. You know,
If
what
we
I mean?
break at some point, you have to grab that bitch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll try it
Or
on.
start the next
I'll wear
one with it.
I'll wear it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll start the next episode with it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I actually wouldn't mind at some point stopping to just make sure this setup's
Well, do you
working
want to do that
in the
now?
morning. And, yeah, you
Before
wanna
we
do that
get
real
going,
quick?
let's do
Yeah,
that now,
let's go.
and then I'll go and grab this thing.
Yeah, grab that. thing,
Okay,
dude.
yeah,
Cool.
get that shit.
Okay.
All right, hold on for a second. While you're putting that on,
Yeah.
I was just talking about the fact that you are anti-Antifa, but you described yourself the first time we spoke as like a centrist Democrat type. So it's ironic though,
Absolutely.
that anytime you're like anti-Antifa, people take that as pro-fascist because everything's so fucking binary these days. You're either one or the other. You're this or that.
And the only reason I guess I say I'm anti-Antifa is because of their reaction to me. I got my own cheering section. And a series that I started here in Olympia that really started as kind of a tongue-in-cheek dark humor series called Tent City Diaries, where I was focusing on the homeless issue and just sort of the negative effects of the homeless. So the syringes on the ground and people taking poops on the sidewalk and garbage scattered everywhere. And so I came across as kind of a hate monger of the homeless from the Antifa crowd. And so they don't like me. And
now,
so
for the record, though, you of course have compassion for homeless people and everything. That's
absolutely
just more your gonzo stylings or something.
And I preach responsible homelessness and how you can be homeless without trashing the community that you're in, and it's that kind of stuff. And so that's sort of the lesson that I try to import. You know.
Yeah, and I watched one of your Tent City Diary videos, and I saw, even though it scrolls fast as shit, I had to pause it to look at it. You had a disclaimer in there that speaks to all this, you know. So if
and
people take the time,
it scrolls really fast, and
does.
some people have taken the time and talked to me about it. They're like, "Yeah, I slowed that down and read it." I'm gonna have to take my headphones off for a minute just to model this, but you got to see this thing. Oh, right, it's great.
The gold chain goes great with it.
It's actually so airtight that I'm gonna have to hold my breath. Whoa, well, maybe not anymore. I'm gonna have to hold my breath because this thing will not let any air in at all.
You should go to the grocery store wearing that.
I'm like, it's a complete seal right now. I can breathe out, but I can't breathe in.
It's crazy. I can breathe out, but I can't breathe in, even in this state right here. But this thing, oh yeah.
Nice, man. You're ready
prepared.
to go for the next level.
This is a military grade. So
I don't know if you know this. A lot of people wouldn't believe it. I was in the military. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and I remember going MOP 4 and exercises and shit, and wearing them gas masks.
Yeah, but this one has a nice.
We had to sleep in them like 12-hour, 14 hours in a gas mask and shit for exercises and shit. That's just an exercise. At least you're not in Iraq worried somebody might use some shit on you wearing that thing. Ugh.
Yeah, so
but I'm sure they've made a lot of advancements too with the modern technology. Maybe
that's true. They're just fogging up though. But even when you try,
this has anti-fog.
Yeah, I'm working on a product right now that at my day job that involves anti-fogging goggles.
And that's what this is. This was one of the things that caught my eye. But
especially as a videographer, you can't see what the fuck.
I had to be rescued in Portland. Some kind street medics dragged me out of the street because at one point I got too many chemicals. I got more chemicals in my system than I did in the fucking 90s when I was getting high all the time. Oh my God, where to begin? So it was pretty impressive actually to see sort of how the people were trying to fight like this big state machine. It was like this Orwellian sort of battle where it was just people using like bow and arrows against tanks kind of a deal, right? But the people were smart, and the things like the leaf blower brigade to where so the police would like launch some tear gas canisters over the fence, and a dozen leaf blowers would show up, would literally materialize out of nowhere, and in a coordinated effort, push all of the tear gas right back towards the police.
Here's the thing, man. Guerrilla warfare, guerrillas are inherently
innovative,
passionate, innovative, resourceful, and guerrillas beat the fucking British army in the United States. Guerrillas beat the American army in Vietnam. Guerrillas kind of held their own in fucking Afghanistan. You know, no victory's been claimed, and we got firepower that could just end that place, you know?
Well, I know this. During one of the days, there were welders, like the city must have hired a bunch of welders that were reinforcing this fence that was all the way around this federal building, this federal courthouse. And they spent all day. I did video down. I was like, welders are sparks everywhere, and they're like putting big plates, metal plates, and bolting it down to the concrete. And by the end of the night, that fence was torn down by protesters with nothing more than nylon cords and rope and coordination. They had like a tug of war, and they had a guy sort of like a coxswain on a boat going, you know, heave, ho, heave. And like you get 100 people heaving and hoeing and pushing on the fence, and something's gonna rattle loose, and it did, and they pulled that fence down by the end of the night.
You hear that, Trump? If you build a wall, some motherfuckers is gonna pull it down some weekend.
Right. Either that or Steve Bannon will just take all the money from it.
It won't get funded in the first place.
I was saying on Facebook, how long before Steve Bannon the narrative gets twisted that he's some kind of Robin Hood stealing from racists.
Right.
Because it was racist to give money for the wall, you know.
Now, and can
Everything's get so twisted and shit. That's why we need independent journalists just trying to give us objective footage that we can then. Because even if you're like, look at these Antifa fucktards, if I don't feel that way, I can ignore what you said and watch the footage.
Yeah, I always thought it was
adulterated. You know,
I always thought it was crazy when I was younger and starting to become aware of these sorts of things. When I heard that newspapers endorse certain candidates and stuff, and I'm like, what? As a publication, they endorse candidates, and then the opinion pieces. And now look at the news; it's even crazier with
so partisan
just
and
being pure.
Well, I'm sort of an aspiring filmmaker, right? Like I do this YouTube thing, but I'm an artist, and as you can see, the artwork behind me is all stuff I painted, right? And so
looks awesome back there.
I'm a creative guy. I try to be creative, and YouTube's sort of an extension of that. But my dream is to make like a documentary that gets play on Cannes or something, right? Or Sundance. And I think Portland is my story because I have made fast friends with a guy named Trumpet Guy. Now, those of you out there, look up Trumpet Guy. You can Google him. You'll find him all over the place. He's a guy who shows up, a white guy in the middle of a riot with his shirt off, playing the trumpet like Dizzy Gillespie as he's getting shot with rubber bullets, and he doesn't miss a beat, this guy.
He sounds like a holy clown, man.
Yeah.
He's brave, he's crazy, he's funny, he's smart, he's passionate, and we really hit it off and clicked. I think I could make a whole documentary around this guy. So this is part of the reason. It's why I bought a gas mask. I'll be going back down to Portland. I'll be camping out. I'll bring a tent. I'll be embedding in Portland. It doesn't mean I support what they're doing. It just means that I have to do that to get the story. I'll
give Trumpet Man COVID.
Right? So, hey, I have a lot of Trump fans now. For some reason, after this Sturgis
I want to
thing,
talk about that.
Yeah, I have a lot of Trumpers as fans.
Everyone who shared this video, almost unanimously, I might be the one guy who shared it who's not a Trump guy. They shared it gleefully. Like, look at these Antifa assholes coming in here, you know.
And they were kind of making assholes of themselves in that for sure. So,
and some of the comments were
pretty there, for sure.
Yeah,
but even just showing up and stuff at this, it's just like, what are you trying to accomplish?
And the guy with the purple hair had a baseball bat, had a sign attached to a baseball bat. He was ready for a fight,
just looking for trouble, Like,
kind of, yeah. And he was going to lose that fight. You're vastly outnumbered with a bunch of badass bikers.
Enemy territory.
It's not a fight I would pick, man.
There's literal murderers in the crowd.
Right. And then he
percenters and shit.
And I mean, there were a lot of guys that would not let me film them. Hell's Angels members, I went up to people. You could tell by the patches on their backs. And of course, I would ask permission, like, hey, guys, do you mind? Most of them minded.
Hey, man, how'd you get your Red Wings?
Right.
Just tell that story.
No.
Look on your face.
But that was pretty fascinating, actually. So, yeah, we got sidetracked. At Portland, you're going to see Portland in the flesh. I'm going to bring out a lot of Portland footage. I haven't made a Portland video yet, and you got to check that out. But anyway, that'll tell the story. But the Sturgis thing is fresh in my mind, and it was one of the best weeks I've ever had. Like, it was amazing.
Let me interject real quick. This is something I said to you off camera yesterday. It's amazing to me how there's been this crazy flipping of the hourglass or shift in paradigm where the left, the hippies, used to be carefree, party like it's 1999, don't give a fuck, etc. And the right were the conservative scolds and the squares and the party poopers and shit. And now it's switched to where the left forgot how to have fun. They're the woke scolds. They're the ones raining on everyone's parade, while the right is partying like motherfuckers in Sturgis and don't give a shit. It's so crazy.
It's crazy. It just keeps flipping. And
now it's the young people. Maybe the first time in history, the young generation are the scolds, and the old people are partying. Look at Sturgis; they're all gray and shit. There's some wrinkly ass titties.
And they put the millennial lefties to shame. They partied like rock stars. I
know they're making me question my allegiance and shit. Which
honestly,
I don't have any allegiance, but it's a joke.
And beyond that, there were a bunch of good people. Like, what other town could you run around with? A lot of the women are exposing their bare breasts, and there were no sexual assaults. There were no rapes. Everybody's very respectful. You know what I didn't see in Sturgis for a whole week? I didn't see a single syringe on the ground.
Right.
Okay. I didn't see a single fist fight, not one fight. Everyone was drunk. Nobody was fighting. Like, they were the most responsible, kind of mature, fun partiers I've ever been around. Usually people get stupid when they get.
Well, Sturgis is like a sacred event. These are bikers and bike people, and to them it's sacred. They're not going to go there and
a lot
give
of
it a bad name, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of them go every year. They know each other, you know.
Right.
Yeah, true. It's probably far more communal than it is like looking at any.
Which is the kind of shit the left needs. The left is eating each other alive with this cancel culture shit and just microaggressions and all this bullshit. Like, come on, dudes. Learn something from this other side if you even want to subscribe to this side shit, which is absurd anyway. But there are two Americas. And this thing that you're doing, you kind of, like, you've been to these strongholds. Sturgis, you could argue, is a conservative stronghold. In Portland, definitely a leftist stronghold, because most can ask people in Sturgis about Portland. First thing they'll do is laugh. Second thing they'll do is shake their head. Third thing they'll do is say they're full of fucking idiots or whatever, you know. And look at them. And there's people shitting on the streets and syringes everywhere and shit. Does the left way work?
I'm not sure if I should divulge this, but I have received sort of inside information, and I don't know how credible it is, but from a bikernation sort of group that is planning on hitting up Portland and flexing their muscles.
Oh, damn.
And so I told them I want
that they're being warned.
So see, fighting ain't the
I want a
answer
heads
either.
up. Yep, I want a heads up because I want to be there to film it, you know.
I mean, going to kick ass, what are you going to beat them into submission and teach them? No, you just, come on, man. We're going to create terrorists if we get in a bunch of fucking brawls.
Yeah, that's the last
like
thing
I talked before, Antifa.
Resolve our differences. You know,
Antifa's benign. Antifa, all right, maybe once in a while some dumbass will hit somebody with a bike lock or some shit, but it's usually misguided, you know, ideological youths who are out there trying to change a admittedly fucked up, flawed system, you know? So it's not like they're wrong, but it's just that their tactics, they're goofy douchebags who think they know way more than they do and shit, you know?
Well,
give people a bad name.
This protest, this is the first time this has ever happened at a Sturgis rally. 80 years this thing's gone on, and it's never been interrupted by people saying, you don't belong here. Because that's bikernation. That's their street. Right. And so these other, just the shock and the outrage, you know, the way I stumbled into the scene, it's kind of funny. I wasn't headed to the Antifa protest in Sturgis. I was headed to the wet T-shirt contest.
Did your mom have any wise words on that front?
And more importantly, do you have video on that?
I do. I do.
Now that'll go viral.
Hashtag stay tuned. And so I literally was headed to the contest, and I sort of heard or saw a commotion. I was, you know, on Main Street. Main Street's the main drag down Sturgis. It's where, you know, all the action happens. All the banners are hanging across the street. Everybody cruises up and down. And I just kind of, something caught my eye. And so, of course, I sort of diverted to it because I'm always looking for the story. And lo and behold, I come across the scene that I knew instantly was going to be big. So I got my iPhone out, started live streaming to my Facebook people, and noticed a lot of people joining and watching. And as the things were developing, I was thinking, oh, man, this is like TV gold right here. And sure as shit it was.
Oh, we don't vote for communism. We stand with the police. We stand with the government.
As I was panning from left to right, I heard the crowd start screaming, "Hey, he kicked the motorcycle!" The guy in the purple hair. Notice this shot captures a police officer grabbing the guy. If you'll notice to the right-hand side of the picture, I continued taking the panorama as the crowd rushed past the cops into the street. By then, all hell broke loose.
How did you hashtag all that shit? Were you just like Sturgis, Antifa, just hitting all the? Is that what gets it viral? The hashtagging?
No. I think I had a good title. It said breaking news in all caps. Antifa protesters interrupt Sturgis rally live, and that's all I had. That was
I'm
it.
sure a lot of it was just the content, just that people passed it around once they saw it, and it was good shit. Yeah, but to get that initial interest.
Now, let me back up because we've been shitting on Antifa, but I firmly believe these people should be able to show up now. They're not exactly the Westboro Baptist Church showing up saying fucking fag hates God or God hates fags and all this kind of shit. They're just showing up to say, I mean, some of them did have like "fuck your bike" and "fuck your rally." They were
one of them kicked the bike, right? Wasn't that like
he did, but to me, it looked like he got Top Gun buzzed by that biker, didn't he? Did that biker not roll close to him?
Let me break it down. All right. Number one, I agree 100%. The ability to protest is as American as apple pie.
Anywhere, anytime.
Right. And the bikers were saying that. They were respectful of that. They were taunting them and yelling at them, but they weren't, they were allowing it. Right. It was the moment that guy kicked a passing motorcycle, and the guy was buzzing him a little close. Okay. But he wasn't going to hit him, and he didn't need to kick his bike. And kicking a motorcycle in Sturgis, he might as well have taken a shot at him with a shotgun.
Might as well kick a nun in the fucking...
It was like a match in a room full of gasoline. It instantly went like I could feel goosebumps on my arms just from the tension of the crowd.
Let me say this. There's a great irony in that the defund the fuck the police people are the ones who are protected by this phalanx of police that got their asses out of there. But I also do think when you said all the Sturgis people were being respectful, that they were being respectful because the cops were there. They probably would have just chewed them motherfuckers up immediately if there were no cops.
Absolutely.
The law and order, which is, again, another irony when you say defund the police. You want to go around protesting.
Yeah.
I think that was the lesson to be learned here is be careful what you wish for. It's good to have controls on the police. The police can be need maybe more regulations than they have.
Absolutely do.
Police are fucked.
But defund them completely is a different matter. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Distinctions, people.
It's a Walking Dead episode. Like I want to be Carol with a motorcycle, but if there's no police, we're living in zombie land.
Well, we discussed this in the CHOP episode too. That usually these people will say defund the police doesn't mean completely defund them and shit. But it's just that typical horrible leftist marketing where they can't name shit right. And they come up with some, it's democratic socialism. It's like, it's not, just stop calling it socialism. It's killing yourself.
Just rebrand
capitalism. Andrew Yang did it. He said human-centered capitalism. It's the same shit Bernie's talking about, but he calls it socialist.
Right. Hey, the coolest celebrity I met in Sturgis? Hollywood Yates. You might know him as Wolf from American Gladiator.
American Gladiators.
Yes, he gave me a one-on-one interview. The guy even gave me a Gregg Zart Productions shout out that will end my sticker.
Nice.
Okay.
You haven't really made it until you get one from Nitro from American Gladiators.
Oh, yes. Or what was the chick?
I don't even remember, dude.
Oh man, she looked like a playmate though. That was amazing.
There's a few of them.
So that was like one of the. I also met a guy who was in Jackass 3, the dwarf guy from Jackass 3.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because they were really into exploiting.
Yes.
Yeah, they had midget wrestling. They had midget arm wrestling. They had everything but throwing midgets at the wall with Velcro. You know what I mean?
This shit is funny. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, these midgets were cool AF. Like,
everyone's got their uniqueness, and you can
Hank the Tank is one of my buddies. Hank, if you're watching, bro, you keep that belt.
Nice.
He won the
well, here's the thing.
I love your network.
I know you got your own whack pack fucking you're building out, dude.
I'd be like a kid rock ensemble, like
a trumpet man,
like someone juggling fire and swallowing swords and shit. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great production.
It's beautiful, dude. I love it. Well, we were talking about doing some co-production things, and I kind of consider you not to lay claim to you because you're your own sovereign being, but like you kind of feel like a field reporter and shit out there doing the things that we would do if we weren't like fuck going out there and doing those things.
Stay tuned, America.
Yes.
It's the three amigos here, and I will be in the field bringing material back for the guys in the studio, and we are going to make some fantastic productions.
Right.
Absolutely.
And again, we always want to speak to there's got to be a huge swath of people out there that don't subscribe to this left, right, fucking conservative, leftist, fucking commies versus capitalist pigs shit. Most people are just people. And if those Antifa people had just gone there incognito to check it out, they probably would have had a blast like you did. Right. And they could have found some common ground.
And, yeah, exactly.
But no, it's always got to show up to fucking make my point, and then I make you make your point, and then we draw lines in the sand. It's like, fucking stop it, people. We got issues we got to address.
Primarily first, and then they find ways to support it.
Take it to Washington. And here's the other thing about Sturgis. Sturgis is a pilgrimage. These motherfuckers rode their bikes from Arizona to South Dakota. It's a mecca, like a true literal pilgrimage that they rode there. It is like holy ground to them.
Which is ironic considering Stronghold Table and all that, you know, the Native Americans there, that it was their sacred land that was usurped. And, you know, like imagine the people from that time, what they would view all these white people rolling in as their sacred thing. Now it's crazy. It happened. I mean,
hey, what are these white people doing taking our holy mountain and carving their faces?
Exactly. Yeah, I know, man. It's like the further you go back, the more it just starts to just wash out and kind of just be a series of like pendulum swings.
Well, and I want to say something too real quick, like the midget thing or fucking little people, whatever the shit it is now.
They call themselves midgets.
Okay, right. Okay. But people who grow up
want to be called a little person.
Yeah,
I'd rather be.
I'm a midget.
Person.
Whatever. It's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead.
But besides, I'm just saying people like that grow up. Even now, I'm sure one born now, maybe, who knows what his brain's infected with. But remember, sticks and stones break my bones. Like you grow up being able to take jokes because you've been the butt of them and shit or whatever. Well, fairly or unfairly, rightly or wrongly, bullied or not. It's just like that is an important skill that has been lost on a generation. It feels like to just roll
this is
with
akin
the punch.
To the event at Sturgis where he got buzzed by the bike, but to kick the bike, like those are distinctions too. You know, it's like it's well, yeah. But and I'm saying just like taking it to that level, to a physical level, like that's a major distinction. A lot of people seem it's lost on a lot of
There's
people.
no
They just slash out physically.
A disciplined activist would sit there and be not just buzzed, but brushed and not react.
Right.
You know?
There were some eminently reasonable people in the crowd. I heard people saying, look, just walk away. Don't give them any attention. Just ignore them. And so there were, again, you know, a lot of
escalation on both sides, I'm sure, to some degree.
Escalation on both sides. But the good news is the follow-up to the, you know, I was on the way to the wet t-shirt contest, stumbled into this Antifa thing. Well, the contest was at 5 o'clock. Okay. It started at 5. There was one at 1 and one at 5. So this was like the finals. Okay. These are the finals. Okay. And you want to be there for the finals.
That's a good job. Oh my God.
Kind of weeded out.
No,
all
you
that,
saw it.
you know.
You've got video. Oh shit.
Oh, I have video.
Oh my goodness.
Did you get release forms from the plastic surgeons who performed
no. There's no need for that. No,
see their work.
This all took place in public places.
Freedom. So fuck yeah.
And so basically it was less wet t-shirt contest and more stripper pole with water hoses. It was pretty amazing.
How did the midgets figure into that?
They didn't. No, they didn't. And
next year we
missed opportunities.
I had a few favorite go-to haunts. If you're into the ladies, One-Eyed Jack's is the place to be. I don't know. It's
ironic because it sounds like a glory hole place.
Oh my God. I think it was. I actually
One-Eyed Snakes.
I think a lot of that happened. I don't know if you've seen the viral.
Well, did you see Canada's government suggested glory holes as a safe sex during COVID?
What?
Like,
oh dear.
Canada's government suggested in their official literature glory holes as a way to have safe sex during COVID.
Justin Trudeau is a freak. He really is.
Totally.
Yeah. We can't tell you what STDs you might get from it, but
now One-Eyed Jack's.
COVID.
That's true.
Is that the place you posted where they were arm wrestling and shit?
Well, no, one
The
of
cut
the most
guy
famous, one of the most viral images I've seen from One Eye Jacks is a really hot bartender chick who was wearing a mask on each boob as like her bikini. They were like the disposable masks,
Yes.
and it went
kinda
really
thong
kind of
like, too.
viral. But I hear that One Eye Jacks is also the location where one of the first positive COVID tests has come out of a guy that was there a lot, and of course,
And you were there a lot.
I
That
was
makes
there
sense.
every day, a few times a day.
That adds up.
So yeah, so there's
Well,
the
back
yin
to
and the
touch on
yang.
that thing I said about the left not being able to have fun or laugh or anything anymore. That's an example of what I'm talking about with the right, where there's this playful trolling.
Yes.
If you can roll with a punch,
Yeah.
trolling is just busting each other's balls. But people act like trolling is a sin and shit. First off, secondly, the memes, the right owns memes these days. Leftists suck.
Yep,
dude.
that's true. This is true. I actually
Weird.
looked around. I capitalized on trolling on my YouTube channel, where I started a bit called Hate Mail, Great Mail, where I would like save the most like raunchiest, most angriest, like calling me the worst, most vile thing names, and then I throw the thing up and sort of like roast them like a comedian would someone, a heckler in the crowd,
Love
you
it.
know.
Let
And
us in on that.
because I used to like really resent and like I'd get my feelings hurt and I'd read too much of it. I'm like, I'm not gonna read it and blah blah blah. And then once I turned it into a bit, I'm like, oh man, the worse the better. Bring it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want to troll me? You're just giving me material.
Like roasts, man. They could go places that hardly anything else will go, and they're beautiful. They're the
Roasts
funniest
are
shit
so
out there.
healthy. They're so
Yes.
healthy.
It's
dude.
cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some of the best. I mean, do they still have that on Comedy Central?
I don't even know. It's
like,
a good question.
I mean, they've done
I
them
used to love
probably within the
those.
last year. I think they've yeah. I think
The
like
Laura
they did one of
Ingraham
Bruce
roast?
Willis,
Oh my god.
Right. Yeah. I
People-
wonder if they've been
Nikki Glazer just napalming
she's
people.
amazing. Yes.
But there was one political party represented in Sturgis, South Dakota, and it was not the Democrats.
Libertarians.
I might have been the only kind of centrist. I think I've told you this before, Jason, that I'm consider myself a conservative Democrat. Like I have a lot of democratic ideals, but I'm a little more conservative, fiscally conservative, etc. And so, but there was. So I might have been the most democratic person there. Everybody else there was pretty extreme far right. And barring the politics, I might not agree with everybody's politics there, but there's a damn a bunch of good people. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's my extended family now. I trusted everybody there. They trusted me. We had a good time. I have never had so many drinks bought for me in my life.
Sounds awesome. And
Ever.
yeah, that's the thing. You can disagree politically with people on certain policies or whatever. It doesn't mean you gotta like go to war against each other. It's ridiculous.
It is crazy.
I think the
It is
Democrats would
outrageous.
learn a lot by going to Sturgis and just interacting with the other side.
just
And
have
maybe people could just kind of agree to disagree, you know?
I mean, they have Burning Man when there's no COVID, I guess, but I don't know.
Right.
But
I
how
think
would they act if a bunch of Proud Boys showed up at
Right.
fucking Running or Burning Man or something? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
everybody's just, it's the people who are itching and trying to pick a fight. We can't let them dictate how society's going to operate.
Exactly. That's the real bottom line.
You know
No
what?
matter
Crazy.
what side.
Inmates are running the asylum, essentially.
I'll hook you up with little clips of all the stuff we've talked about on here, and you can intersplice little B-rolls or whatever throughout if you want. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Because like when we were talking about everything we've talked about, I have footage of, you know, including, you know, I got to see a concert there, and a big concert, like packed, thousands of people, big band. Hinder, you ever heard of Hinder?
Yeah, I think I
Rock
heard,
band?
like, yeah.
Hinder. I think they're out of the Northwest.
Rings a
I think
bell,
they're
but-
from the Northwest or something. They're a rock band.
I think they had a
Pretty
big
fucking
hit
good.
I couldn't stand, but maybe there's shit.
Right. They were one of
It's like
those. They were
Lips
one
of an
those
Angel or some shit. It just felt
But
like
you know
a
what?
bad poem. You're the lips
Right.
of an angel.
No, No, it was Lips of an Angel. You're 100% right. No, you're right.
That's
Oh
cool.
my
Well,
god.
the sound being all right, but I'm just a
I'm totally
lyrics
missing
guy.
it.
I'm like, they need a Bernie Taupin up in this motherfucker because
Well, here's the greatest part of it, though. It was a concert, man. Like
Right.
the
Which
people were
lips were you talking
dancing,
about?
and it was like, you know, people were drinking and partying and dancing, and the music was loud, and it was like, it was just fun to be in a scene like that. But as far as I know, probably the only one in America this year. Like they don't allow outdoor gatherings full of thousands of people.
right. Let's discuss that again because let's bring it back to the COVID of it all.
Yeah.
When you were there,
Yeah.
I would have just been like, I'm in a fucking Soderbergh movie, a nightmare.
Oh my God.
Where
Hold on.
every cough, everything, I couldn't do it.
I'm gonna show you a shirt. Just a second. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying, right, Chris? Like, there's no way I can't imagine being there.
Only because of other
I
people.
bought a lot of
Well, yeah.
shirts.
And I can't
Bought a lot of
quarantine.
shirts.
But there's disease, you know.
Yeah.
So this one
virus.
says
Yeah.
that you can cut this shirt to strips for toilet paper.
See, again, they're
Right?
funnier, dude.
Right?
Yes,
Like they're
so
funny.
much funnier.
But look, COVID-19. That's the back of the shirt. You know, there's the front. It's
Love
pretty
it.
funny. So
Like,
so
what would
what's
have
funny
left
is,
this? What would have left this shirt sold at Sturgis say? You just killed my grandmother.
right.
Fucking,
Well,
yeah.
oh my God, no, there was a trailer full of animal furs, like thousands. A guy who buys
Some Red
furs
Dead
from
Redemption
trappers.
shit.
And like I made a Pamela Anderson crack while I was talking to the guy about PETA, and
Don't
he
talk
looked at me,
about
he's like,
Pamela.
I'm, seriously, he looked like a vampire. I had just sprinkled some holy water on him when I said that.
He's probably her seventh husband.
Yeah, no, the shirt
He's like
says,
the Elizabeth Taylor of trash.
hey,
Just
the
marries
shirt.
all
In case of emergency, cut this shirt and use as toilet
Yeah,
paper.
that's
I mean, that's
genius.
that's brilliant. It's brilliant. So,
Fallout
but
5.
You know what would
The
be
trapper-
ironic as fuck if one day you had to?
right.
Like, you might
Oh,
someday
shit.
have
Right.
to use that shirt.
And it's
Right.
purely because of just these people that push it over the cliff. You know,
Honestly,
It's just everyone getting hysterical.
we're closer to you having to use that shirt for what it says on it than we've been probably in the last 140 fucking years or something.
Do you remember the great toilet paper scare shortage of
Right. I mean,
2020?
I stocked
But-
up. I still have
Yeah.
a case in the back over here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
me too.
My point being,
I
though,
got my
when you were
stash.
there, how did
Yep.
you?
Yep.
I mean, how did you find it within yourself to just be like, fuck it, I'm going to be devil may care? And it's almost like you have to live like it's worth dying for.
Yeah, you just let
this
loose. You
party
pull the
is worth
Oh.
dying for because we're killing for.
We're
Again, you wear the
experiencing-
mask.
Oh, shit. I don't think you can hear us.
Oh,
He
shit.
just cut out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I
and
love
yes,
this. You do the
Gregg
introduction.
Zart, our in-house fucking Lady Gaga, went for a costume change.
Hey, what, you think I only had one pair of Versace's?
Yeah, man.
Come on.
Right.
I
Come
thought
on.
you'd be in drag or something, man. I'm disappointed.
I feel like you went on, I feel like you went on Storage Wars and got some container that fucking Andrew Cunanan had a bunch of fucking evidence locked up in.
Oh, R.I.P. Gianni. R.I.P. Gianni. Hey, oh, hold it. You can't see the shirt, but look, this is kind of cool. This was my Sturgis. This was the most popular design in Sturgis. It's the social distancing guy on a bike with the 80th thing. It was supposedly the most popular design in Sturgis.
That is interesting when you think about it just vehicularly. Motorcycles are social distancing. Everyone's sitting in cars
Oh,
together,
shit.
but if you've got a bunch
Except
of
the two,
bikers,
but you know, it's cool. Yeah.
I mean, they
Good
might have
point.
some chick on their back, but who cares
Right.
about her?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're already banging anyway. So
Right.
yeah. That's a good
I want to
point.
know.
Valid point.
I want to know where
Individualism.
are you guys going to send me next? Into what hotbed of extremism am I going to dive feet first into next?
Well, we built this time
Any
machine.
idea?
We're sending you back to Detroit during the riots.
Nice. Nice.
I don't know,
Is it
man.
a DeLorean?
We got to see what pops off, but we're not sending you anywhere for a couple weeks. 'cause
Right,
we're
I know. I was like,
responsible overlords.
He's like China,
Yeah.
You know, shit. Can you go to Wuhan? For
embedded in China.
We're gonna send you to a
Putin's
wet
palace,
market.
maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, you hear what Putin just did?
Yes.
Oh,
Boy,
Poisoned homeboy again.
Yeah.
poison that guy. He's
It's a repeating pattern. That's for
sneaky.
sure.
Well, and then
He's
he's trying
sneaky
to.
with
They're
that
trying to
poison.
fly him to Germany now for treatment,
Yes.
but some Russian doctors blocked it.
I
They're
think
like trying to run out
No,
the
he
clock
just
on
left.
his ass.
Yeah,
All right,
I
good.
last I
Breaking
saw
news.
it.
He's now left. He's now left.
So then the
he's on his
question
way to
becomes: Are
Germany.
Gregg
they
Zart
going to be
always
able to
breaking
find some
news.
evidence? Isn't one of
Yeah.
the features of this shit that they only know for so long? There's a certain period where they can detect it, and then it's gone. Is it like?
That's
is that
why they
what's
held
going
him till
on?
now. Now
Yeah,
it's out
and
of
now
his
it's like,
system.
go
It's like,
ahead,
all
They
right,
ran out the clock.
Germany can have him. It's kind of like warm beer, like
Hardcore.
letting warm beer go out of North Korea as
Hardcore.
he's dying.
I love Russians, just for the record. Putin,
Yeah, well,
vodka, Russian women are beautiful.
Eastern European women are beautiful. That's for
They have
sure.
a crazy history, man.
They have to
Russia,
be.
one of the
You
craziest.
know how much they beat them if they weren't that good looking?
Right.
Fucking
I can't
awful.
talk about women too much because I kind of have a new girlfriend too.
Oh,
This is from Sturgis or elsewhere.
No, this is it's crazy. I've sort of
Her name's
reconnected.
COVID.
Wet T-shirt winner, 2020.
It's coronavirus.
Oh wow, no comment, no comment on that because woo, well, you'll see
Or
her.
one
She
of the
had
midgets.
electrical tape over her nipples, and wow, it was something
She
else.
was-
Let me
It was
tell you.
electrifying.
Exactly.
It really was. So
Okay, it was one of the midgets then.
I love this about you. There's some,
no,
hey,
there was a
you're not
female
dude.
midget.
Can I ask, how old
They're
are
cute
you?
sometimes.
Yeah. Do I have to divulge this on the
No,
podcast?
you can be a woman or whatever.
I'm
but-
52.
Dude, I was gonna say though, there's some Peter Pan shit going on with you. It's
Oh, yeah.
inspiring.
Right.
You are forever young. Even just
Yeah.
when you told me like I'm sweet on this girl when you're in Sturgis, you came back, I got a new girl now. It sounds forever young, and I'm jealous.
She's
because
42.
I am
You know,
decrepit.
And,
Yeah,
and
no, I always people underguess my age usually by about a decade. It
Right.
seems like my whole life.
I'm so dead inside. I might as well be like. I'm the age of COVID's main victims.
I don't believe it.
inside.
No, I don't buy that for a second.
No,
But you
haven't
said
seen-
you're go ahead. What's that?
nothing. Go ahead. I was just gonna make another
What-
joke.
When you said you were damn, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, that you're in the best shape of your life now at 52.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I always remembered the Bowflex guy. He was like, I'm 40 in the best shape of my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And I'm like, I'm 46 now.
Right.
Fuck. Like,
No, I mean,
that's
my
supposed to be
six-pack,
impressive.
I actually have a six-pack coming back for the
Nice.
first time in probably a decade. You know what I mean? And it's really this age of the virus that sort of it's more of a
I'm in better shape,
it's more
too.
of a survival instinct. You know?
Yeah,
I think a
kinda
lot of
does
people have
seem
changed
to
their
kick
habits.
in.
You know?
Yeah. I'm lifting.
Now would be the
literally-
time to stop smoking.
Walk a couple miles a day at least every day.
I literally have a
Yeah,
six-pack of old empty beer bottles sitting next to me. That's
That's a thing. You're trying to
COVID did not
offset all that
inspire me.
shit.
I've still given up.
right.
So chug some.
So,
Beers,
let's
Mark.
talk about COVID more. I think we need to address COVID a lot because
Yeah.
your audience might be these Sturgis people, and I'm not going to say we have things that they need to hear or anything, but let's round out this conversation and let's
do a
deep
deep
dive on coronavirus and
Right.
maybe what our social contract should be regarding this, because I do think there's something to the idea of if you won't wear the mask for others, you're kind of a dick.
Correct.
So this was a huge sausage party. Basically, everyone there was a fucking dick,
Yeah, because
even though they were having
nobody.
a blast and they're good people.
Right. And you know, the thing is, I feel like they've been misled by their leader, by their politician,
Oh, that's something
by
to
our
talk about,
president. And because a lot of the people's arguments they were using, it was White House talking points. It was Fox News talking points. And I could tell that most of the people were just kind of parroting back to me what they've heard from Rush Limbaugh or whomever, you know? And so I feel like they're being misled through no fault of their own, really, and just sort of their desire to believe by the people on the far right.
But would some
The
of those
media
talking
people.
points be like that it's a hoax or that it's not as bad as it seems, or like what is
numbers are
everything
inflated,
that it's not even real, that
Yeah.
Fauci's involved, that Bill Gates is involved, and
right?
like
Oh, that's
it-
okay.
it's a Boogaloo Boys, you know. It's crazy, but I think it's because people, they want to believe in something, and they want to. It's sort of like a cult-like reliance on the cult of Trump, and so they're good people. There are a lot of good people, and I think they're just misinformed.
Yeah, well, I got lefty friends who are so fucking demonizing of Trump's and consider them, or Trump supporters, and consider them these by default racist and deplorables. I'm more in the Yang camp where Trump is a symptom of a problem. That problem being,
right.
and if you want to call it what it is, globalism, exporting jobs, these trade deals, and it's the middle of America, the working class just being fucking hammered.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them are
jobs are going away in general, so we all better be prepared for that, you know, like.
But it's funny how people are so anti-union, so it is very complicated. These same people were anti the unions that could have helped stave some of that off and shit, but whatever. I mean, it's complicated again. But
I saw a lot of Confederate flags in Sturgis. Oh my God. Oh, I forgot. I got to show you this. Oh my God. Hold it.
I love his fucking Sturgis swag and props and evidence and shit he came back with.
Years.
Oh my God. I even forgot that I got this on the way out of town. I bought this shirt when I saw it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That'll help you
with,
embed in some shit. Where can we send them?
And it's funny.
Shirt with nothing is like a Confederate flag shirt, okay?
At a glance, it looks like a pattern an old lady might have on a dress or something. Like you,
right.
And then you look closer.
Like Pizza Hut tablecloth.
It's just repeating like.
To be fair, it was on the discount rack. And then look at this here. I picked up one of these. I'm going to give this away in some sort of a giveaway where it's going to be like an incentive prize for people to do something or whatever. This is how we get people to do stuff. But check it out. I bought this. Here, just a second. Can you read that? Well, here.
Yeah, you got some President Trump.
President Trump.
I got a Trump mask.
First, I want to say
2020 with a presidential seal on it.
Oh my God.
And someone's gonna love this. Yeah, guaranteed this will be a great prize for somebody out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, look, it even touched my face, so that's probably worth more now, right?
Let me start by saying I think that Confederate shirt someday will make some great toilet paper.
That's the one that should get cut into strips.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I had to $5 on a discount rack. I had.
Oh, dude, that's great. I mean, shit.
So I don't know why. It feels kind of creepy. It's sort of like having something with a Nazi insignia on it. But whatever. Anyway,
it's weird. We made this movie Cactus Jack in my basement, and it's about this neo-Nazi hate monger dude who lives in his mom's basement. And I still have some props left, and I had to have some plumber come over and look at something, and I was like, dude, if you see any Nazi shit down here, I just got to tell you, it's from a fucking movie.
Right. No wonder our meeting got shut down the other day. They think you're like a neo-Nazi white supremacist.
We're definitely on some lists,
you know,
man.
Are you sure you're not in
our
Idaho?
internet searches for writing and stuff?
Yeah, we're screenwriters, dude. Our search history enough is fucking... Now, this is funny though that you bring out that mask and everything, because I did want to say it would have been so refreshing if it was just a bike party. But again, everything's so fucking political now. It was essentially a Trump rally where he was incognito. Everything was Trump this, Trump that, Trump shit everywhere.
There was a Trump like super bus, like one of the like the PGA or like the race car drivers that travel around in these $1 million RVs.
With John Madden's
they live in them. And it was a huge thing like that, and it was all airbrushed with all these crazy Trump like pictures and like Trump all buff, like Trump's face on like a buff, on like a Rambo body, posing
Trump
and stuff.
Riding a bald eagle, shooting Hellfire missiles at Putin on his donkey and shit.
I wanted to go inside that bus so bad and see it. I never got to see inside it. Dang it! But I wanted to.
Well, next time you go, wear that mask, and they'll probably let you right in.
Yeah, I took a cool panorama of the bus. I got the picture. Matter of fact,
I was just gonna ask. It now. You got video. Awesome, man.
There it is. Oh, you know it. You know I did. Yeah.
It's funny. You can't be a biker and be a progressive.
Right. What happened to
don't overlap.
Oh, yeah, no.
Was Robert Persig, who wrote Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, some fucking conservative
Ask me how many black bikers I saw.
Right.
None.
The chosen few, man.
Yeah, the chosen few.
A whole other story.
A handful, maybe less than 5 or less.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Just made me think of something else.
Yeah, it is so interesting how there's a very, very narrow spectrum of what would be acceptable probably at Sturgis. That's
exactly.
I don't know, because you say everybody's good people and everything, but that's because everybody was everybody. Everybody was the same.
Here's what's acceptable: boobies, beer, and bikes.
Right.
I just broke it down right there. That was
Nice.
it.
That
That's
sounds
it.
pretty good.
That's it.
I don't need the bikes,
Boobies.
obviously, but the beer and the boobies sound pretty good.
Boobies, beer, and bikes. It's pretty much that's Sturgis.
I love how
Your
you-
point is that anyone can show up and be into those three things, and you're cool. Like there's no drama. Is that what you're getting into?
No drama, and people are respectful. Like
That's awesome.
And usually okay, so there's a booth where they do the boob painting with airbrushes, and it's not a booth with sides on it. Like you can just see the girl sitting there as they're spray painting on her, and people weren't ogling girls and hanging out and drooling and being creepy. Anybody, and usually the girl would be with a guy. She'd be the wife or the girlfriend of somebody there, and they'd be walking around, and the guy'd be like, "Yeah, look about chick's big boobies." Right, and everybody be like, "Look at those big boobies."
Yeah, what's the problem?
But if someone wanted to take yeah, exactly, there was no problem. But if someone wanted a photo, they'd ask for permission, and they'd say, "Excuse me, you mind if I get a picture?"
That's
And
fair.
It was always respect. There was a lot of respect, and I never felt like anything was creepy or awkward or weird. Like it's just
That's
like
why
a bunch of
people
adults partying, you know.
That's why people can have their boobies out, because of the respect. You know, if you don't have that,
Free the
then you
boobies.
don't get the boobies. You know, only nice people get good
Free
things.
the
you know?
boobies. Free the boobies. Absolutely. So it was actually really kind of eye-opening for me. You know, I had this sort of Hunter S. Thompson version of Hell's Angels in my head,
That brought
and
him to
this
mind.
was a completely different vision. And these people, I'd party with them and hang out with them any old time and feel 100% comfortable and safe. You know,
Right. Now, everybody, especially again on the left, runs these purity tests. See, I'm one of those people. I think you got to get your own house in order. So I've been called a concern troll. Do you even know what that is, a concern troll? Have you heard this term?
No,
This
I
is
don't.
something some of these lefty woke skull types use, where they say that you're like posing as a lefty, but you're really not. You're like a fucking insidious saboteur or something. So you come into these, you wade into these Facebook arguments to practice whataboutism and shit. And I'm always shitting on the left and not the right. But I'm like, to me, if you're somebody who's of the left leaning, it goes without saying that you disagree with the shit on the right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to formulate a better argument on the left. So you got to critique your own crowd. You got to police your own tribe. If the police themselves, you wouldn't have the fucking issues we got now. You know what I mean? It's like police your own.
What's crazy about the right is it seems they're so quick to embrace sort of conspiracy theory.
right. Yeah,
know.
that's, Jay and I talk about that all the time. Just being so convinced. You know, just
Well, but there have been studies that show that the conservative, or what we would call the right mind, is more driven by the fear centers of the brain.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just wrote this big Facebook screed about this, where this is something good to actually talk about here. That isn't it ironic when you see how these campaigns sell their vision to the people? That to me is evidence of what drives those people, because we live in the age of confirmation bias. So it's funny that the people on the right call the people on the left cowards because they're scared of this virus and they're too scared to live and fucking blah, blah, blah. Yet, the people who are all about the masks and everything, they're the ones who are trying to go forward and bravely create a new, better place to live and everything instead of looking back. If you think about it, Make America Great Again sounds like a progressive slogan or something, but really it's looking for safety. They're not trying to create anything. They're trying to return to a safe space, right? Which is so funny because they make fun of safe spaces and snowflakeism and everything.
right. Yeah.
So,
There is
but
a
and
lot
they're
of
the
irony
ones
there.
who get marketed to with fear, xenophobia, fucking they're stealing your jobs, they're coming here or whatever. So it's like that's what turns your brain on, is the fear shit. But what turns the brain of the supposed fucking coward lefty on is, let's go forward, let's do hard work, let's work together, let's be brave, let's
automate
confront
jobs
climate
and free
change.
yourselves up more and mass produce food and all these things. And things
Let's confront problems though. Let's take on global
Innovate.
warming. Let's, you know, and it's ironic to me as
At least
fuck. But
attempt it.
somehow the people on the right paint the cowards. But to me, that's classic projectionism. It's every homophobic senator turns out to be gay. Anyone who's calling you a coward is a bitch. Pretty much. You know what I mean? So anyone from the right who's listening to this, please take this to heart and self-evaluate and say, wait, how come I keep calling all these guys cowards, yet the people who are speaking to me, the Trumps and everything, that's what they're selling. they're selling fear to me, and I'm lapping it up and shit. I don't know. It's ironic to me.
So I was by the, do you call him a farrier or something? The person that sells all the furs and like the fox pelts and things. And I'm not sure what they're called, but I did a little bit, and I was like,
Buster Scruggs and shit.
And it's an entire trailer, and I walked through this thing, and it was just walls of like dead animal faces staring at me, and I felt like I was in a Game of Thrones episode. I actually did a little bit, and I was like, "Winter is coming, Jon Snow," right? And then I'm walking through this thing. Well, so I got a great interview inside there, and I got all the stuff I needed, and as I was coming out, I noticed a bin full of drink cozies, and it was over 100 degrees every day. There in Sturgis. It was hotter than a hooker in church, you know what I mean? And so I was looking for a drink cozy, and they had this bin of like $1 drink cozies, and I saw some orange and black ones, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, Harley colors or whatever. And so I paid for one, bought it, and I thought it felt kind of lumpy. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but since we're on Zoom video, I can actually show you what the drink cozy was. So